Alrighty, team. Good evening. I'm Richo. This is Luke, and we're your amazingly intelligent, beautiful hosts for this evening, and
You're
most
wearing a
likely all
vest.
other evenings that contain this podcast. Oh my god! You joined the army, mate.
I can't believe I got away without you realizing for the first couple of minutes. But anyway, invest in a vest.
I was too focused.
Go, lads.
I was focused on. I was focused on the hat, mate. I saw the New York hat, and I was like, "Oh man."
Oh, the hat, not my heart.
Yeah, yeah.
They're both small.
Man, I had no qualms with the vest. I don't mind. I've got a vest, so I'm
Yeah,
like,
man. Vests,
I'm all
mate.
good with it.
Look, I'm a trendsetter. It's just you've got to be brave with your personality. I was wearing camo before fucking people wore camo, mate. I've got a small cock. That's now fashionable. You just got to be like, sometimes you just got to roll with the shit you believe you're fundamentally quite good at. And for me, it's been able to wear a heap of gay clothes and not be too offended with what people think.
Oh, well, if that works for you, mate, then awesome.
It's just picking your battles.
Oh, hey, what'd you say?
I said, yeah, it's just picking your battles,
Yeah, picking your battles, man. Picking your battles. Speaking of, here we are for episode 14 on how to pick your battles. Now, this one, for me, is probably a tough one. It's definitely something that I have to constantly be aware of.
Who do you keep having battles with?
Oh, it's just, well, I mean, no one at the moment. But like, but just like in terms of, like, I've gone through this with at work, and just like friends, relationship. Like not so much friends, because people, when they know me, it's like, yeah, they understand what I'm trying to, like, I think my issue is I don't see it as an issue. I think, it's more of a, if I see bullshit, I can call it out, and it's just like, or if I don't agree with something, I'm very quick to kind of call something out.
Yeah.
And so where this kind of falls into the how to pick your battles. So I might call something out that I don't agree with, and mentally I'm not engaging in a battle. What I'm doing is just pointing out something that I don't agree with, but then it turns into like a battle.
Yeah.
So which is why I've like had this feedback a few times. So it was good for me to have this topic, because I really had to kind of sit down and like break it down and think about it, and think about situations where I've picked battles where I probably didn't need to kind of engage in something. But yeah, I'm keen to talk about this one.
Nice, mate. Or do you wanna kick it off then?
Yeah. Okay. So what I kind of came up with today, I was really having a think about it, and I think it's really important. The very first thing, like when a situation kind of occurs or arises, is to think about where you are yourself at, like where your head's at, like what's happening in your personal life. Are you in a bit of a shitty mood? Like, are you annoyed about something? Like, so like for example, if you've just had, I don't know, your missus fucking jump down your throat, and then you're at work, like, and someone, I don't know, filed a piece of paper wrong, are you gonna then smash that person because your missus just had a go at you? Like, so that was for me. Step one is to kind of like just think about like where your head is at, like how are you feeling emotionally, in order to actually engage in something.
Yeah,
that was
nice.
my first little. I've got a bunch more. Do you want me to keep it going, or are you?
No, mate. I'm just writing down what you've actually said, because I think it's a really good point, and I think a lot of people's pasts and their own story create then what their beliefs or opinions are, which then they transfer into having the ability to, or the desire to, having an opinion on something, and then basically getting into a battle just because they've got an opinion. rather than
Mm.
stepping back and going, is this really a good use of my time or energy?
Yeah.
Yeah. You carry on, mate.
It was like that was going into that goes into like some other points. I was talking like I've got written down here like how much energy are you actually willing to kind of like spend on a certain situation.
Yeah, nice.
And that just saying how it's important to consider. I've got like so after like my step one of saying understanding of where your actual head is at, like understand what you actually want to get out of the conversation or the battle, and like what the purpose actually to even engage in that sort of in that conversation or whatever it is, whatever situation it is. And then from there kind of make a decision of is it stewing or not. I also wrote down like who is the person that you're actually engaging with, like the other person's personality. And the reason that's a big one that I've learned is because I've just had people that like I've worked with and they just like I don't know. I don't even just work with this in life as well. Some people just will like not listen. Like no matter what you say, like they're not so much focused on the words that you're trying to get across or the message you're trying to get across. They're more focused. They might be more focused on coming out on top or like yeah. So they might that might be their personality that they're just so focused on coming out on top. So it doesn't matter no matter what you say, they argue it because they just want to come out on top.
Yeah. And
So
that's a good.
it's really worth putting in. It's really worth a bunch of energy to have a battle, argument, conversation with someone over something if you don't actually think that they're actually going to take it on or do anything about it.
Yeah. And that's, I guess, an example of a time where you'd probably choose not to, like, you'd be picking your battles. Is that classic example then, right? Where you'd be like, right, I'm not going to get into a battle of this. It's not going to be worth my time and energy.
Yeah, 100%.
What else you got for me?
So then I just kind of had like if you're able to kind of like not get emotionally affected by I don't know or during the conversation, then go for it. Then feel free to jump in. That's a tough one because it does really depend on the situation at hand. But a lot of people, as soon as you kind of I don't know go into a little bit of an attack mode, like there are other people who will also jump into attack mode, and then they might not necessarily actually listen. Like I was saying before, not listen to actually what you're saying because they're so focused on winning this battle, or they might get in the defense and just shut down, and then just not listen.
Yeah.
So I think leaving all emotion out of it and just keeping it like controlling the tone, no high tone, and then just obviously be like as long as you can be like open-minded in the conversation and sit there and actually listen to what the other person has to say and actually take it on, that's really going to help a lot. Those are like my main, active listening. Those are kind of my main. I think it was like 5 points there. Which are all kind of involved like when you're actually like getting into the beginning of the conversation or the battle.
Sweet. Yeah, I think that sometimes we get to choose our battles. Like we can make a decision: do we want to get invested in this? Do we want to give this our energy? Do we want to? But other times we're kind of forced to. So that's probably the two ways I was looking at it. Is basically sometimes we have to have the willpower and go, you know what? I know that this isn't going to be a good situation for me to get involved in, so I'm going to choose not to. classic example, me Sunday, you know, I had to pick a battle then and decide, fuck, I'm not going to deal with this shit. And so I didn't, because I knew it wasn't going to be worth my time and energy. It still frustrated the shit out of me. And you saw that in person, and I was angry, and I wanted to battle. I wanted to give my peace of mind and energy to that person, but you at the end of the day that they're a worthless piece of shit. I was sorry. That they we're never going to see.
Is this little Britain guy?
What's this?
Is this little Britain guy?
No, not that asshole, but him as well. I probably got into a battle with that guy. Actually. I got into a battle with that guy. Just gave him a little piece of my mind, and it worked. Because, I mean, they sort of left, which is nice. But you know, like sometimes, yeah, you like as much as you want to get into that battle or give your opinion or basically be like, you know, that's just your opinion and that's your past and whatnot coming out to give bias to that your opinion. It just ends up being opinion versus opinion. So it's like, is it really important? So I think when you can choose not to and you know it's not going to be positive, then you might as well not get involved. When you can't, so when you're in a situation where you have to have a battle basically because maybe you're forced to. So context like you're in a working environment and your manager's an asshole and they've said this and you're like, well, I'm going to have to react, and you are kind of basically forced to be in the battle because you can't just, you know, avoid it or be like, right, I'm not going to get into this. Then a little bit of a strategy I learned last year was to try and I think you kind of said it, but in a different way, try and find what the other person needs and try and, when things start to break down in an argument or a conversation, try and go back to that point and ask like, well, what does this other party actually need from me? And stop just thinking about what you want to say. And it can actually really like change the trajectory. What the fuck is that? Where's that word come from? Or direction of the conversation by just flat out asking, well, like, you know, like, so what do you actually need from me? And then they're forced to actually tell you instead of being like, well, you should have done this and you should have done this. And just like, okay, well, like, what can I actually do for you? Like, well, what's the best way to solve this? How can we both meet in the middle here? And actually asking that hard question, and it basically, it stops all the bullshit. And it's like, right, well then, okay, that sounds pretty possible. Is it possible? Cool, let's get it done. So yeah, I think being able to identify what someone's needs are, and if you can't, straight out asking for them. I made another note about overusing your strengths, and that can be where you end up getting into a lot of battles. So I think, again, like every time we talk, it goes back to self-awareness. If you know what you're good at, then you can understand how you use that. So again, for me, I know that there's some people that find me overbearing, you're an asshole, you're arrogant, you're too intense, you're full on, etc., etc. And so now I can pick up those vibes if I'm getting those back from people, because most people I can win over. I spend time with them and they're like, oh yeah, you're a great guy. You got fucking heaps on, but you're a great guy. But there's some people that are just like, no, like you're just too pushy, you're in my face, you're too out there, you're too extroverted, you're fake, you're fucking whatever. And I have to be able to be aware of that to then figure out from them, okay, well, what do they actually need from me? Or what can I do differently to flex towards what they are getting from me? Because otherwise we're just going to be like, it's just not going to work and it's going to clash. Hey, Ella, can you see the dog? Heaps on.
No.
Yeah. Oh, you can't. So overusing your strengths is a point that I jotted down. Come on, Ella. What do we got? Got a big golden retriever here. It's all good stuff. What do you reckon, Ella? You got anything to say? Just probably want more food, eh? Been interrupted. Anyway, mate, any thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I do have to agree that you do come across arrogant sometimes. And
Yeah.
I'm kidding, man. You know I love you. No, yeah, I agree. I thought that was really interesting. I didn't think about it from the way of. I didn't think about thinking about how you come across to other people. But but it's true. It's definitely something that we need to keep, like, because I've been called, like, at work, for example, because because I would point out a lot of things. I got placed into like this negative basket, and it wasn't like I was, because I'm not a negative dude. Like I wasn't complaining. It was like, okay, there's an issue there, and this is how we should try and fix it. But because I was it and not certain other people, it got deemed as negative.
Yeah.
So that's a battle that I probably shouldn't have gotten into. But I learned that lesson.
Yeah. Did I join the mongrel mob?
Hard way.
That red hat is ready for a battle with black power. Shit, I've been this hat. Yeah, and look, I think we can create battles for ourselves. Like, you know, and I've got times where I've gone places and I'm like, I know this person's going to have this opinion, and then they'll raise a topic, and I'll be like, burn, have the same yarn every time I see them, and then I'm just like, why am I even having that convo? Because I know they're not going to do anything about it. So, you know, it's like self-awareness, just like yourself sometimes, be like, just don't bother, just don't be a dick, because it's not going to be productive.
Yeah, don't waste your energy on something that's not gonna, I don't know, that you're not necessarily going to get any sort of like return out of, or you're not actually going to be able to have it. For example, if you're not going to have that person by having that conversation or engaging in that battle or whatever, then like, what's the point? Like, yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think, like, because for me, like, I always poke, like, and not like poke. It's more like I'll engage with the person in something to see how open-minded they are or how open they are to these certain things. And sometimes I'll get like told as to being, I don't know, a dickhead. It's like, no, that's my intention.
So what, like you overstep the mark deliberately, or?
Not deliberately, but like, because I'm very, I mean, you know me, I'm an open book. And like, so sometimes like when I communicate, I can be extreme. And I'll usually do that. Like, I'll usually kind of wait and feel the person out a little bit, and then I'll kind of add more directness into the conversation. And then if I feel comfortable enough, then I'll just kind of like, yeah, cool. Well, this is my input. But sometimes like people don't always like, I don't know, appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I did a video about this another time, but just to wrap it up real quickly, you know, you only have a certain amount of energy you get to spend each day, right? And if you're going to go in and have pointless battles about shit that's pointless again, it doesn't matter. Do you really need to, do you need to spend it on that? What if somebody needs it later on, but you've spent all your energy on pointless battles just because you wanted to be right or wanted to prove them wrong or wanted to get into a back and forth or whatever. It's a really tricky one because there's a fine balance between being a pushover, being able to express your opinion, backing up what you say, letting people know your beliefs, opinions, etc., and forming who you are versus, not doing any of it. But yeah, I think we just have to be mindful both ways.
Cool. I agree.
Simple as that.
Yeah, easy. Does anyone have any input they want to throw in?
I've got a tip that I learned during the week, and it's not anything to do with picking your battles, but apparently, you've probably heard 1,000 people say this, but like the light that iPads put out and iPhones and alarm clocks and whatnot's like not very healthy for you, right? So blue light, is that what it's called?
I have no idea. I think I've heard this.
I don't realize, but I don't know if you can see this. Tell me if you can see this, but like on my iPad here, you see that? You can when I press over this screen piece here, you can turn night shift on, and it strips out the bad light, so that if your phone's in your room, then when you're sleeping, it tries to take out any shit light that it might be putting out into the room, because basically they do these studies where they would just put like the small blue light on you or whatever the light's called for a night's sleep, and then they track your sleep, and it affects your sleep massively. So for the old
Wow, so
iPhone,
interesting.
for the old iPhone users, you basically swipe up to your control panel, I think is the terminology, and then your screen brightness. If you push down on your screen brightness, it gives you an option to put on true tone or night shift, and you can chuck your night shift on. And you know, Apple have obviously done it for a reason, so it obviously does have some sort of, enough people have asked for it. So random little tip there. We all like to get a bit better sleep and make sure we're looking after ourselves. So yeah, learnt that and thought it was pretty interesting.
There you go. Look, Kemi's hot tip for the week.
Bam.
Turn your blue light off.
Oh, I've got another couple as well. But they're not racing till this Saturday. Oh no, wait, that's a different group. Sorry. Hot tips. Go there, lads.
I'm starting to think maybe I should cut my hair.
Oh yeah. Ask the people. Do a poll in the group.
I was thinking doing a poll and seeing if the people think I should cut my hair.
Yeah. Be a big one.
So if anyone thinks, give us your input, guys. If anyone thinks that my hair is affecting their life, then make sure to whack it on.
Are you worried about going bald?
Nah, not really.
Be honest.
I mean,
what do you mean, not really? If you
okay. Look, like I was like, if we want to get into it, like when I was younger, like yeah, like, and then I kind of got to a point where I just didn't really give a shit, like, because I looked at all the options and the girls get the girls. Kemi should cut his hair. Nah, honestly, like, so when I was younger, yeah, and I looked into the options in terms of like medication and stuff, and then like the medication has all these side effects where you can like go sterile and stuff, and I was like, well, like, if it's kids or like then just going bald, then I'd rather just go bald. Like, it's not like, I don't know, it's not a huge thing for me. I think I like don't get me wrong, like I like having hair, and I like kind of like going through different like phases of having it long, short, and just doing whatever. But if I end up going bald, I end up going bald. Like, it's just how it is.
But also, you're Australian. You're Australian. You have a long board, and you like kombucha. So long hair is just kind of fucking part of the package, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Okay. No, just the reason for the question is I just remember reading that apparently going bald for a guy is like, it's like a major thing to deal with and to worry about. And I've just got a couple of mates who have started going down the road pretty early, and they were pretty keen to try and find a solution, and we're pretty worried about the whole thing. So it was interesting, given that I'm rocking around trying to cut mine down to a 0 every 3 weeks and stuff.
Yeah, it is. It is an interesting thing I find, especially with guys. Like, I think the only reason I'm okay with it is because I've just accepted it. Like, and I could just like, instead of like I don't get me wrong, like I like fought it for a little bit and was like, all right, what can I do to stop it? But then I was like, what's actually wrong with just embracing it? Like, look at like The Rock, Jason Statham. Like, there's all these, like, Bruce Willis. There's all these dudes out there who are just kick ass and they're bald. So like, I mean, who gives a shit? Like, I mean, it just means you're more of a man than other men.
Hey, and what about the question, why do girls dye their hair? Are we gonna like get into that one, or that might be a bit too touchy? That one.
Oh shit! How long have we got?
I'll be real keen.
Didn't you do a whole episode?
Oh, I guess we might have to. Yeah, it's a bloody fascinating question. Like, why do girls dye their hair? There'd be so many different answers. So, it's just anyway. All right,
We
mate.
get a girl on to talk about that. It'd be funny.
Yeah, might have to.
All right. Cool. Well, that's it from me. I haven't got any. I mean, final thoughts would be number one, don't be a dick. But yeah, two, just like when it comes to picking your battles, just remember, think about where your head's at. Think about what you're actually going to get out of it. What are the repercussions to having that conversation? Consider who the person is. Consider how you're viewed by that person, and yeah, just how much energy are you willing to kind of put into it.
Yeah. Yeah, mate. Nice. Good summary.
Yeah, sweet.
So,
You got any funny thoughts?
nah, just night shift on Apple products. That's exciting. And yeah, I like that. Don't be a dick's becoming quite a very popular piece of advice. And then self awareness about how you might be putting things out to other people and being seen by them, and then getting to the core of what people actually need from you in an argument, or a situation or a battle.
Cool. I like
And I
it.
like stripping emotion out of a situation. Like, yeah, I there were some times where I'd go to work with parents and then they'd just be in a mood, and then it would come out later that old bloody Sally had taken 2 roll-ups to school and fucking then they had to turn back because they forgot their backpack, and I'm just like, those are not my fucking problems. I'm sorry. Don't take that shit out on the staff. It's not fair. Don't be a dick. Pull your head in. Don't create shit for everybody else just because you've decided to bring this into the workplace. That's a lot of heat, but I think it's fair. I think if you can strip emotion out of situations and not let it affect how you act towards other people, it's a pretty valuable asset to have.
Sweet. I agree. I'm all for it. I feel like that's slowly becoming like our new tag, like don't be a dick.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Get it. But poll number 2 will be: should the boys get "Don't be a dick" tattoos
I'm not getting a
with
tat, mate. I'm
with
not
an
brave
actual
enough.
penis?
I'm on your
What?
penis. I'm too scared to get a tat, mate.
Are you really?
Yeah, 100%.
Why?
I don't know. I've just built it in my head, that it would hurt and that I might regret it down the track, and so yeah, just and it's got needles
Bro,
involved.
I almost fell asleep when I got mine. Like I
Get
had
out of
this like
here.
one on my shoulder. Like I was lying there and I seriously was falling asleep.
Yeah, again, bro, you're a different guy to me, man. You got the kombucha, the longboard, the long hair, the sleeping during tattoos, mate. You're a fucking superhuman.
That's not what I meant.
Maybe I'll step up one day.
No, that's what I meant. I mean, I'm Jesus.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah. Did you ever get those nails
No,
taken
I'm
out of your
kidding.
wrists or not out of your wrists?
Whoa.
Right, let's wrap
All
this
right.
up.
I think. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. 14 episodes down. We'll have to discuss
1400 to
what
go.
topic we'll do next week. Oh, I might be on next week. I'm in Bali next week for a mate's wedding. Just FYI. But we'll figure it out.
Do it from Bali. I like it. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good evening. Thanks for tuning in. Love y'all.